The planet was called Kale 9, a dry world of red rock and deep canyons far out in the Orion Arm. For hundreds of years, teams from different alien species had come here to dig. They searched for old machines, broken ships, and pieces of lost technology. They found many things: shiny energy cells, maps of dead stars, and strange writing on stone walls. But one thing they never cared about was hidden deep under the ground. In a sealed chamber, at the bottom of the ruins, sat a huge fossil. It looked like the bones of a giant dragon from old human stories. The skeleton stretched more than 60 meters long. It had wide wings folded against its sides, sharp claws as long as a man, and a long neck that ended in a large skull with rows of teeth. Scales still covered parts of the bones, hard and dark like black metal. Dust lay thick over everything. No one had touched it in a very long time. The alien scientists called it Specimen K-47. They wrote in their reports that it was just an old animal, maybe a flying hunter from before intelligent life came to this world. They said it had no value, no advanced tools, no circuits, no signs of a thinking mind. So they left it alone. Year after year, new teams arrived, looked at the upper levels, took what they wanted, and never went down to the dark chamber. The fossil waited in silence, forgotten. Then the humans came. Ethan Hayes was 34 years old. He had short brown hair, quiet blue eyes, and a habit of asking questions no one else thought to ask. He worked for the United Terran Exploration Corps. His job was to study bones and old life on other worlds. Most people in the Corps wanted to find weapons or fast ships. Ethan wanted to understand stories from the past. His team got sent to Kale 9 on a small contract. The job was simple: check the lower ruins for anything the aliens might have missed. The aliens who ran the main dig site laughed when they heard. "Humans always look for scraps," one of them said. Ethan smiled and said nothing. He was used to that. The first week passed slowly. The alien teams worked in bright upper halls with machines that hummed and lights that never went out. Ethan and his small group, 3 other humans, went deeper. They carried portable scanners, strong lights, and bags of tools. The air grew colder and thinner the farther down they went. Dust floated in their flashlight beams like slow snow. On the 6th day, Ethan found the sealed door. It was made of thick black stone, covered in faint carvings of wings and stars. His scanner gave a weak signal behind it. Something big, something old. He checked the site map. The aliens had marked this area as empty storage, no priority. Ethan stood there for a long minute. Then he sent a short message to the site leader, an tall alien named Vren from the Zorath Coalition. "Permission to open lower chamber 12B," Ethan wrote. The reply came fast. "Granted. Low value zone. Do not damage structure. Report findings." Ethan called his teammate, Laura Bennett. She was a materials expert, short and quick, with dark hair tied back, and a tool belt that clinked when she walked. "You're going to like this," he told her. They worked together to break the seal. It took 2 hours. The stone door slid open with a low grinding sound. Cold air rushed out, smelling of dry rock and something older, almost like metal left in the rain for centuries. Ethan stepped inside first. His suit light cut through the dark. The beam landed on the fossil, and he stopped breathing for a second. The dragon lay stretched out on a wide stone platform. Its ribs curved high like the roof of a cathedral. The wings, even folded, reached almost to the walls. The tail curled in a slow spiral. Every bone looked perfect, as if time had not dared to break them. Scales caught the light, and threw back faint green and silver flashes. Laura came up beside him. "Holy, that's not normal," she whispered. Ethan walked closer. He touched one claw with a gloved hand. It felt smooth and warm, even after all this time. His scanner beeped. It showed strange readings, traces of metal inside the bone, not just calcium. Thin lines ran through the scales, like hidden wires. "This isn't just a dead animal," Ethan said. "Look at the structure. Those wing joints, they're built for power, not just gliding. And see here?" He pointed to the skull. "The brain case is too big, way too big for a simple beast." Laura pulled out her own scanner. She ran it along the neck. The device chirped. "There are alloys in the scales, not natural. Self-repairing compounds, maybe. This thing was changed, or made." The fossil seemed to watch them, with empty eye sockets. Ethan felt something strange in his chest. Not fear, but a kind of excitement, mixed with respect. This was not another broken ship or dead engine. This was a body that had once lived, flown, maybe even thought. He turned to Laura. "We need to keep this quiet for now. Just us. If we tell the others too soon, they'll either laugh or try to take it away." She nodded. "What do we do next?" "We study it. Carefully. Every piece. We take small samples, run tests, map the bones, and we find out why no one else saw what we see." They worked late into the night. The rest of the dig site slept or partied in the upper camps. Down in the chamber, only two small lights moved across the fossil. Ethan measured. Laura took photos. They spoke in low voices, afraid to break the stillness. By morning, they had a list of strange things. The teeth showed wear from biting metal, not just flesh. The ribs had extra supports, like armor under skin. And deep in the chest, near where a heart would be, the scanner found a faint energy trace, something that had not died completely. Ethan looked up at the dragon's skull one last time before they left for sleep. "You waited a long time," he said quietly. "I'm sorry no one came sooner." Outside, the red sun of Kale 9 rose over the canyons. The alien team started their day, hunting for more machines and maps. They did not know that two humans had just found the key to a story older than their empires. The fossil stayed where it was, silent and patient. But now someone had listened, and everything was about to change. Ethan Hayes could not sleep that night. His small bunk in the camp felt too warm, too close. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the dragon's empty sockets staring back. The fossil was not just bones, it was a puzzle, and the more he thought about it, the more pieces did not fit. The next morning he went back down alone. Laura had to help the team with a broken scanner on the upper level. Ethan carried his own light, a small sample kit, and a notebook. He did not trust digital notes yet. Someone might look. The chamber felt different in daylight. Sunlight from cracks high above sent thin yellow lines across the fossil. Dust danced in the beams. Ethan walked slowly around the skeleton. He started at the tail and moved forward, touching each bone with care. He counted ribs. He measured wingspans with a laser tool. Everything was too perfect, too strong. When he reached the chest, he stopped. Last night the scanner had shown a faint energy trace there. Now he set up a better tool, a portable deep scan unit the Corps had given him for emergencies. It was small, heavy, and loud, but it could see inside things without cutting them open. He placed it near the rib cage. The machine hummed. Green lines moved across its screen. Ethan watched. At first, nothing new. Then a pattern appeared. Thin threads ran through the bones like roots in soil. They connected the scales to the spine to the skull. The threads glowed softly on the screen. Metal, not normal metal. Something that could carry power. Something alive once. Ethan sat back on his heels. "You were not born like this," he said to the fossil. "Someone built you, or changed you." He took tiny samples, a flake of scale from the neck, a small bone chip from a claw. He sealed them in clear tubes. Then he went to the skull. The brain case was huge, 3 times bigger than it should be for an animal that size. Inside, the scan showed empty spaces shaped like cups, places where something had sat. Something electronic. Ethan felt cold. This was not a wild creature. This was a machine wrapped in flesh. or flesh wrapped in machine. He did not know which yet. Laura came down at noon. She carried 2 cups of hot coffee from the camp machine. "You look like you saw a ghost," she said. "Worse," Ethan answered. "I saw proof." He showed her the scan results. Laura studied the screen for a long time. Her face changed from curious to serious. "Those threads in the bones," she said. "I know that pattern. I saw it in old research files back on Earth. Self-healing alloys, the kind we are still trying to copy for ship hulls. But these are older, much older." "How much older?" She pulled out her own analyzer. She fed in the flake of scale. The machine worked for 5 minutes. Then it beeped. A date appeared on the screen. 827,000 years ago, plus or minus a few centuries. That is before any known space travel. Before the Zorath. Before the Vexari. Before anyone. Laura nodded slowly. "And look at this." She pointed to a line of data. "The alloys have nanites, tiny machines inside the metal. They are dead now, but they were designed to repair damage. This dragon did not just live. It fought, and it healed itself when it got hurt." They sat on the stone floor, backs against a low wall. The fossil towered over them. For a while, neither spoke. Then Ethan said, "Why did they ignore it? All those aliens. Hundreds of years. They walked past this door and never opened it." Laura shrugged. "They were looking for machines, engines, weapons, not bodies. They think bodies are for museums, not science. And humans, we still look at bones and wonder who they were, what they dreamed about." Ethan smiled a little. "We are nosy. Curious," she corrected. "It is different." Ethan mapped the neural spaces in the skull. Laura tested more samples. Every test gave the same answer. This was not natural evolution. This was design. High-level design. Someone very old and very smart had taken a living thing and turned it into something more. As the light from above faded, Ethan found something else. On the inside of one wing bone, hidden under a scale, there was a small flat plate. It looked like metal, but when he brushed dust away, it caught light in strange colors. Blue, purple, green. He took a close photo. Then he touched it with a tool. The plate hummed, just once. A low sound, like a bell far away. Ethan pulled his hand back fast. "Did you feel that?" Laura asked. He nodded. It reacted. This time with a low-power signal from Ethan's scanner. The plate glowed softly, not bright, just enough to see lines carved into it, circles and lines that looked like a map. "Or a code," Laura whispered. "That is not decoration. That is a port, a connection point." Ethan's heart beat faster. "For what?" "For someone to talk to it," she said, "or for it to talk back." They did not touch it again that day. They were afraid of breaking something, or waking something. Instead, they packed up their tools and left the chamber. The door closed behind them with the same grinding sound. Up in the camp, the alien teams were packing equipment. The main dig was almost finished. Soon they would leave Kale 9. The fossil would stay behind, locked away again. Maybe forever. Ethan and Laura sat in the mess tent that night. Other humans talked and laughed. Aliens from different coalitions shared stories in their own languages. No one paid attention to the 2 quiet people in the corner. Ethan leaned close to Laura. "We cannot let them crate it up and forget it. Not now. What do you want to do?" "Keep studying. Push for more time. Tell the Corps what we found. Get better tools down here." Laura thought for a moment. "They will fight us. The aliens. They run this site. They will say it is their find, or that it is worthless." "Then we prove it is not worthless," Ethan said. "We get data, real data, something they cannot ignore." She smiled. "You are stubborn." "I am right," he answered. The next 3 days passed in secret work. Ethan and Laura went down every chance they got. They took more scans, more samples. They built a small database on a private drive. Every night they added new notes. The fossil grew more real with each discovery. It was not just old, it was important. Maybe the most important thing found in centuries. On the fourth day, an alien researcher named Kor came to the lower levels. He was tall, with gray skin and long fingers. He saw Ethan coming out of the chamber. "What are you doing down here, human?" Kor asked. His voice was flat. "Checking for small artifacts," Ethan lied. "Nothing big." Kor looked at the sealed door. "That area is closed. No value." Ethan met his eyes. "Maybe we missed something." Kor made a sound like laughter. "Humans always think they see what others do not. You waste time." He walked away. Ethan watched him go. Then he turned back to the door. Inside, the dragon waited. Its bones did not move. Its eyes did not see. But the faint energy trace in its chest still glowed on the scans. Very faint, very patient. Ethan put his hand on the stone door. "Hold on," he said softly. "We are not done yet." He did not know it then, but he was right. The galaxy was about to learn what humans could do when they refused to look away. And the old fossil, neglected for so long, was ready to speak. Ethan Hayes stood outside the sealed chamber door for a long time before he went in again. His hands shook a little, not from fear, from knowing that what came next might break everything they thought they understood. He carried a new tool today, a small Neuralink box from the Terran Core. It was simple, black, and fit in one palm. Humans used it to talk to old Earth machines or to read animal brain patterns back home. No one had ever tried it on an alien fossil before. Laura waited inside. She had set up lights around the skull, so every detail showed clear. Wires ran from the neural box to a thin probe. The probe rested near the small metal plate on the wing bone, the one that had hummed when touched. "Are you sure about this?" Laura asked. "No," Ethan said, "but we have to try." They had argued about it all night. The alien teams were packing to leave in 2 days. If they did nothing, the fossil would go back into darkness, maybe forever. The Core had sent a short message. "Proceed with caution. Document everything. Do not destroy site value." That was all the permission they needed. Ethan sat on a low crate. He placed the neural box on his lap. Laura connected the last wire. The probe touched the plate gently. Nothing happened at first. Then Ethan pressed a button. A soft blue light came on in the box. It sent a tiny pulse of energy, barely enough to wake a sleeping cat. The plate glowed brighter. A low hum filled the chamber. Not loud, deep, like wind through a long tunnel. Ethan felt it in his chest. Laura's eyes went wide. "Look." Above the skull, faint lines of light appeared in the air. They formed shapes, colors, pictures, not solid holograms like modern tech, more like memories projected from smoke. The images moved slowly. First came stars, millions of them. A nebula swirled in red and blue. Then shapes flew through it, dragons like the fossil, but alive. Scales shone silver and gold. They moved in groups, fast and sure. Some carried small ships on their backs. Others guarded round worlds below. Ethan leaned forward. They were protectors. The pictures changed. Dark things came from the edge of space. Black clouds with no shape. They swallowed stars. They ate light. The dragons fought them. Claws tore into shadow. Fire came from mouths. Real fire mixed with energy beams. Worlds burned. Dragons fell. But they kept fighting. One dragon, the last one, flew alone. It was hurt. One wing torn. Blood that looked like liquid metal dripped from its side. It landed on a green planet. It curled up in a cave. Light faded from its eyes. Before it closed them forever, It sent something out. A pulse. A message. The picture showed the pulse traveling through space, looking for someone. Then the images stopped. The hum faded. The lights went dark. Ethan and Laura sat in silence. Their breathing sounded loud in the quiet. That was not just a recording, Laura said. That was it, what it remembered. Ethan nodded. It waited for someone to come, to ask. They checked the neural box. It had saved everything, every frame, every sound. The data was clean. No damage to the fossil. Laura touched the skull gently. You poor thing. All that time alone. Ethan stood up. We need more. We need to know why it chose this place, why it hid. They tried again. This time Ethan adjusted the power, a little higher. The plate glowed once more. The hum returned. New images came. This time they saw inside, the dragon's thoughts, not words, feelings, pictures with meaning. An older race, small beings with no bodies, just light, had made the dragons, not born, built, from flesh and machine together. The small beings were dying, their worlds were ending. They needed guardians for the young races coming after. The dragons were the answer. Strong, smart, loyal, able to fly between stars without ships, able to heal, able to wait. The last thought was clear. The dragon had come here on purpose. This world was far from everything. Safe. It sealed itself in stone. It let its body become stone too, but it kept one part awake. A tiny spark in the chest, waiting for a mind that would care enough to look. Not for power, not for weapons, just to understand. The images ended with one last picture. A human hand reaching out. Not Ethan's hand, not now. A hand from the future. Or maybe just hope. The light died again. Ethan turned off the box. His face was wet. He wiped it with his sleeve. It knew someone would come. Laura looked at him. It knew it would be us. They spent the rest of the day going over the data. Every memory fragment. Every feeling. The dragon had no name in words, but in its thoughts, it called itself Guardian. One of many. The last. Hours of images, sounds, even emotions saved as patterns. It was more than proof. It was a gift. A story no one else in the galaxy knew. That night, Ethan sent a coded message to the core. Short, clear, major find, living history, cybernetic guardian species, precursor uplift protocol. Request immediate support team. Do not inform coalitions yet. The reply came fast. Team en route. ETA 4 days. Secure site. Maximum secrecy. Ethan showed Laura the message. She smiled tiredly. They believe us. They have to, he said. We have the memories. The next morning, the alien teams noticed something different. Ethan and Laura walked taller. They spoke less. Core came again. He stood at the chamber door. You spend too much time here, he said. What do you find that is so interesting? Ethan looked straight at him. Bones, he answered. Just old bones. Core laughed. Humans and their toys. Soon we leave. This place will close. Ethan said nothing. He watched Core walk away. Inside the chamber, the fossil looked the same. Still, silent. But now Ethan knew better. The spark in the chest was brighter on the scans. Not much, just a little, like it was listening. Ethan knelt by the skull. He spoke low. Thank you for waiting, for showing us. No answer came. No light, no hum. But Ethan felt something. A warmth, not in the air, in his mind, like a nod from far away. Laura joined him. She put a hand on his shoulder. What now? We wait for our people, Ethan said. Then we wake the rest of it, carefully. We learn everything it wants to teach. Outside, the red sun set over Kale 9. The canyons turned dark. The camp lights came on. Aliens laughed and packed crates. They thought the dig was over. They were wrong. Deep underground, in the forgotten chamber, an old guardian had finally been heard. And the questions it had waited centuries to answer were only beginning. The support team from Earth arrived faster than anyone expected. 4 days after Ethan's message, a small Terran shuttle landed quietly on the far side of the canyon. No big lights, no loud announcements, just 6 people in plain gray suits stepping out into the red dust. They carried sealed cases full of tools, extra scanners, and secure drives. Their leader was Ryan Torres, a tall engineer with calm dark eyes and hands that never stopped moving when he talked. Ethan met them at the edge of the dig site. The alien teams were busy loading their last crates. No one noticed the new humans slip away toward the lower levels. Ryan shook Ethan's hand hard. "Show us," he said. That was all. Down in the chamber the fossil waited under the bright work lights. Ryan walked around it slowly. He touched nothing at first. Just looked. Then he opened one case and pulled out a larger neural interface. Thicker cables, stronger power, but still gentle. "We built this for deep-sea probes back home," he said. "It talks to things that don't want to talk. Let's see if it works on Guardians." Laura stood close. "We already got memories, images, thoughts, but the data echo feels incomplete, like it holds back." Ryan nodded. "Then we ask nicely. No forcing, just listen." They set up the new interface near the chest, where the faint energy spark lived. Ryan connected everything himself. Ethan watched every move. When the last cable clicked in place, Ryan looked at them both. "Ready?" They nodded. Ryan turned the power on low. The hum came back, deeper this time. The metal plate on the wing bone lit up blue, then green, then steady white. The chamber air felt thick, warm. New images appeared above the skull, clearer, slower. This time they were not just memories, they were instructions. The Guardians had not been alone. Their makers, the small light beings, left blueprints, not on paper, not in computers, in the dragons themselves. Hidden in the nanites, in the alloys, in the very bones. The last Guardian had carried them here, locked them away, waited for a species that would look without greed, a species that would share, not take. The pictures showed designs, sleek engines that bent space without tearing it, shields that turned enemy fire into soft light, habitats that grew their own food and air from almost nothing. Drives that could cross the galaxy in weeks, not years. Everything safe, everything clean, nothing built to destroy. Ethan whispered, "It's a library. A whole library inside one body." Ryan's voice stayed even, and it just opened the door. They recorded it all, every line, every shape. The neural box filled with data faster than they could watch. Hours passed. The images kept coming, one after another. The Guardian had waited so long that it had time to organize everything perfectly. Then came the final piece. A clear thought, not a picture. Words, simple, direct. "To the ones who listen, we guarded until you grew strong enough to guard yourselves. Take what you need. Share what you can. Do not forget the ones who come after." The dark still waits at the edges. The light faded. The hum stopped. The chamber went quiet again. Ryan pulled the cables free gently. "That's it," he said. "The echo is done. It gave everything." Laura looked at the fossil. Tears stood in her eyes. "It trusted us." Ethan put a hand on the skull. The bone felt warmer now, or maybe that was just his imagination. It trusted humans. They spent the next day copying the data 3 times. One copy stayed with them. One went into a secure drive for the core. One hidden backup in case something went wrong. They did not tell the aliens yet. Not a word. But secrets do not stay secret long on a dig site. Core came down again on the last day. He brought 2 other aliens. Tall, quiet ones from the Coalition Council. They stood at the chamber door and looked inside. You have new machines, Core said. You work too much on worthless bones. Ethan stepped forward. They are not worthless. Core laughed. Show us. Ryan looked at Ethan. Ethan nodded once. They let the aliens in. Ryan turned on a small projector. He showed only a piece of the images. The dragons flying, protecting worlds. Nothing about the blueprints. Nothing about the words. The aliens watched. Their faces changed. First surprise, then doubt. Then something like fear. Core spoke slowly. This cannot be. Our archives have no record of such beings. They were before your archives, Ethan said. Before anyone. The aliens talked among themselves in low voices. Then Core turned. This belongs to the Coalition. We will take it for study. Neutral ground. Safe. No. Core's eyes narrowed. You are guests here. Newcomers. You do not decide. Ethan spoke calm. We found it. We woke it. It spoke to us. The Guardian chose who to trust. It chose humans. The aliens stared. One of them reached for a communicator. Ryan stepped in front. Before you call anyone, think. The data we have changes everything. Faster travel. Better shields. Worlds that can live without fighting for air. You want that? Or do you want to lock it away because it did not come to you first? The aliens hesitated. Core said, We will discuss this at the main camp. Tonight. All leaders. Ethan nodded. We will be there. That night, the main tent was full. Alien leaders from 3 coalitions sat at one table. Humans, Ethan, Laura, Ryan, and Olivia Grant, a linguist who had come with the support team, sat at another. Olivia had spent the day looking at the Guardian's thoughts. She said the words were not in any known language. They were raw, meaning, pure, easy to understand, no matter who heard them. The aliens spoke first. They wanted the fossil moved, studied by experts, shared equally. Ryan stood up. Equal share sounds fair, but the Guardian did not say equal. It said to the ones who listen. We listened. We did not cut it open. We did not sell pieces. We asked, it answered. Core leaned forward. You hide something. We see it in your faces. Ethan met his eyes. We have more, much more, but we will not give it until we know it will be used right. Not for war, not for profit, for everyone. Silence fell. One alien leader, a female from the Vexaries, spoke. Her voice was soft. Show us one thing. Prove it is real. Olivia stood. She played a small part of the last message. The words appeared in light above the table. To the ones who listen, take what you need, share what you can. No one moved. Then the Vexari leader said, We will talk more, but not tonight. Tomorrow. The meeting ended. Back in the chamber, Ethan, Laura, Ryan, and Olivia sat on the floor near the fossil. They did not speak much. Laura broke the quiet. They are scared. Ryan nodded. Good. Means they understand. Ethan looked up at the skull. What do we do if they try to take it by force? Olivia smiled small. We have the data already. The body stays here, but the knowledge is ours, and we decide who gets it next. Ethan touched the chest bone. The faint spark was gone now. The Guardian had finished its job. Thank you, he said again. Outside, the stars shone bright over Kale 9. The galaxy turned slowly. Old powers felt something shift. New questions rose, and in the quiet dark of the chamber, an old dragon's gift began to spread. Quietly, carefully, the way trust should. Everything was changing, and humans were no longer just newcomers. They were the ones who had been waited for. The talks on Kale 9 lasted 3 more days. Aliens argued, humans listened. Voices grew loud, then quiet again. In the end, no one won completely. The fossil stayed in its chamber. The site became shared ground. But the real prize, the knowledge the Guardian left behind, went with the humans first. Ethan Hayes, Laura Bennett, Ryan Torres, and Olivia Grant flew back to Earth on a fast transport. They carried 3 secure drives full of data, no copies left behind. The core promised the aliens would get parts later. Safe parts, tested parts, nothing that could become a weapon by mistake. On Earth, the work began in secret labs under the mountains of Colorado. Teams of scientists, human and a few trusted allies, opened the files one piece at a time. They started small. A new kind of shield material, thin, light, strong enough to stop a meteor. They built a test plate, fired lasers at it. The plate bent the light away like water on glass. Nothing got through. Next came the habitat designs. Seeds that grew into living walls. Air filters made from crystal threads. Water systems that recycled every drop forever. They built a small dome in the desert. 4 people lived inside for 6 months. No supplies from outside. The dome gave them everything. Food, clean air, even soft light that felt like sunlight. Word spread slowly. First to allies, then to the coalitions. Humans did not hide forever. They shared, but they chose who got what and when. Ships changed next. Old engines took months to cross between stars. New ones took days. The first test flight left Earth orbit and reached Alpha Centauri before breakfast. The crew came back smiling. They brought photos of new worlds. Green, quiet, ready for homes. Colonies grew fast. Places once called marginal, thin air, cold rocks, weak suns, now bloomed with cities. Humans built them carefully. No big scars on the land. The Guardian's lessons stayed close. Protect, share, wait for the next ones to grow. The galaxy noticed. Alien leaders came to Earth, not to demand, to ask. They sat in bright rooms with big windows. They drank coffee. They listened to Ethan speak. He was no longer just a scientist. People called him the Finder now. He wore simple clothes. He spoke soft. "We did not make these things," he said. "We found them. An old friend left them for whoever would listen. We listened. Now we pass them on, but only if they help everyone, not just a few." Some aliens agreed fast. Others took longer. They feared change. They feared humans rising too quick. But every time a new shield saved a ship, or a new habitat fed a starving colony, the fear grew smaller. 10 years passed. On Luna, in a wide glass building called the Guardian Hall, the fossil rested. Not hidden, not locked. Open for anyone to see. The bones shone under soft lights. Scientists had cleaned them gently. No metal wires showed anymore. Just the shape of something proud. Something that had waited. Ethan often came here alone. He stood in front of the skull. The empty eyes did not stare, but he felt watched. Not in a bad way, in a kind way. One evening a young girl walked up. She was maybe 10, dark hair, curious eyes. Her name was Maya. She looked at the bones for a long time. "Is it real?" she asked. Ethan smiled. "Yes, very real." "Did it talk to you?" "In a way. It showed us pictures, thoughts. It told us to be careful, to help others." Maya touched the glass case. "It looks lonely." Ethan thought about that. It was, for a long time, but not anymore. Maya looked up at him. "Because we found it? Because we cared enough to look." She nodded like she understood. Then she ran off to join her school group. Ethan watched her go. He thought about the Guardian's last thought. The one about small ones, who would ask questions, who would care. He turned back to the fossil. "You were right," he said quietly. "We came, we asked, we cared." Outside the hall the moon stretched wide and silver. Earth hung blue in the black sky. Ships moved between them like slow stars. New ships, fast ships, safe ships. The coalitions changed too. Old rules bent, new ones grew. Humans sat at every big table now, not as newcomers, as equals, sometimes more. Not because they fought for it, because they earned it. Ryan Torres led the engine teams. He made ships that could carry whole families across the arm in comfort. Laura Bennett worked on living materials, walls that healed themselves, floors that grew warm when needed. Olivia Grant studied the Guardians' thoughts. She wrote books about them, simple books, for children, for anyone who wanted to know. The galaxy grew kinder in small ways. Wars became rarer. Hunger grew less. Worlds talked more, listened more. And in quiet moments, people remembered the old fossil on KL9. They told stories about a dragon that slept for centuries, about humans who opened the door, about trust given across time. Ethan grew older. His hair turned gray. His steps slowed. But he still visited the hall. One day he brought a small chair. He sat in front of the skull for hours. A reporter found him there. Young man, notebook ready. "Sir," the reporter said, "they say you changed everything. How does it feel?" Ethan looked at the bones. "I did not change anything. The Guardian did. I just listened." The reporter wrote that down. "Do you think it's still watching?" Ethan smiled small. "I hope so. I hope it sees we did okay." The reporter left. Ethan stayed. Night came. The hall lights dimmed. Only one soft beam stayed on the skull. Ethan spoke low. "We are trying. We share. We protect, like you wanted." But the air felt warm, gentle, like a hand on a shoulder. Ethan stood up slow. He touched the glass once more. "Thank you," he said. He walked out into the lunar night. Stars waited above, endless, patient. Far away, on KL9, the empty chamber sat quiet. Dust settled again, but the story did not end there. It lived in every new ship that flew, in every child who looked up at the stars and asked why, in every person who chose to help instead of take. The old alien dragon fossil had waited centuries, neglected, forgotten, until one human found it. And when that happened, everything changed. Not with noise, not with force, with questions, with care, with the simple choice to listen. And the galaxy, slowly, surely, became a better place because of it.